There's something special about a new planner. Whether you go pick it up from Target or you are delighted to open your front door and find that package sitting on your doorstep. And if you're not with me, this might not be the right video for you. Today, I want to share with you my process for setting up my planner for 2023. All right, the planner that I use and I'm going to share with you today is the Full Focus Planner by Michael Hyatt. And this is a brand new one. I haven't taken it out. I actually subscribe, so I get 4 planners all at once. I've tried a bunch of different styles and I keep coming back to this one again and again and again. And I think you're going to see why as we go through this video. But this is how it comes with this really, there's all different sorts of options that you can get in the cover design. They even now have a spiral bound version of this, but it has a nice little wrapper on this, and this wrapper actually serves a purpose. It took me a little while to figure out exactly what the wrapper was for, but we'll get into it. So this is an unopened version. But the way I start is with, we're gonna go back to Q1 of 2022. So here I'm gonna show you what the wrapper is good for. So as you can see on the side there, you can write the quarter, so quarter 1, and then the year 22. And if you look behind me in this wall, I have some shelves. And so when you put the quarter and the year on the side, you can stack these and then you can easily go access the one that you want to pull out, which I think is great if I'm trying to go back and look at project notes or what I did on a particular day. So that's one of many reasons that I love this. So the way I start is with annual goals, but I like to go back to where I was at the beginning of last year, beginning of 2022, and look at what those goals were. So I can just flip open and I have all of the goal detail for last year's goals. I do feel the one thing that this planner is missing a bit, so the reason I get 4 with my subscription is you get 1 for each quarter. So there's quarter 1, 2, 3, 4. And at the end of the planner, there's a place to do a quarterly preview. And so you just kind of go back and reflect on what your biggest wins were, after action review, refer to your goals for the past quarter, how far did you get, and what worked and what didn't. But because it's broken down into this quarterly system, it doesn't have an annual review look. So at the end of December, I was just looking at where I was for my Q4 goals. So what I do to create that process for a yearly review is check in with my roadmap for life. And I've done some videos about that in the past and I can link to down below. Okay, another critique I have about this, I promise I'm gonna get into all the benefits, is the goal details are actually in the front of the journal. And as you can see, there's pages, there's daily pages, there's a 2-page spread for each day. What I would love is to be able to see my goals more visibly on a daily basis because I do use this thing so regularly. And I got inspired by another Full Focus Planner user to create a bookmark that has my goals detailed out in it. And instead of using the little ribbons that come with this, I will just move my bookmark from day to day. Okay, and then the other thing about this is in the front, like I said, it has the annual goals. It has space for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 goals. I think this is dangerous. 12 goals is way too many. I had in my Q1 of 2022, let's just check because I felt like it was too many goals. I had committed to 12 goals. I used this the way that it was set up. I'm not doing that again. For 2023, I have chosen only 5 goals to focus on. It's going to be divided up amongst the quarters, but 12 is way too many. I'm going to commit to less in 2023. All right, before we get into how to set the goals up inside of the planners, I want to talk about the one routine that really keeps me on task day after day, the most productive 10 minutes of every day, and that is my reset routine. I have a free video teaching you how to create this routine in your life, and I will link to it down below, called the reset routine. All right, let's get into it. This planner starts out by talking about your annual goals. You have to make a goal statement and write your annual goal here, and then I fill in, there's a graph on the side where you can fill in the quarter that you plan to complete that goal. And then you flip to the next page, and this is where you're actually detailing out the goal. And they use the SMARTER goal framework: specific, measurable, actionable, risky, time-bound, exciting, and relevant. Gosh, that's a lot. But as long as you make sure that you're getting very specific on what your goal is, something that you can measure, and putting a time component in it, that is the very, very important part. So you have the chance to write out what it is up here and write down your key motivation. So the reason why you want to achieve that goal. And goal achievement, that's so important. Making sure that it's a goal that you want to achieve and you have a strong reason why, because when it becomes difficult, you're going to have to tap in to that reason why. And then it has you list out your next steps. This is so important. What I want to point out here is make that very first next step something really, really easy. Because goal achievement can be so challenging. You need early wins to make you feel that sense of motivation, that sense of winning, that you want to move on and continue working on that big goal. After I have detailed out all of my goals for the year, I take those goals and manage those projects if it is a project. Sometimes it's a habit goal, and that's a completely different subject for another day. But if it's an achievement goal, if it's a project that I'm working on, I use Trello as my project management system. All right, the next section in this planner is the monthly calendar. And it's kind of like an old school calendar that you would put on a wall, but it's a spread in this book. It only gives you 3, so it's the 3 months that this quarter is covering of this particular planner. And I've gone back and forth in how much I use this. I did fill it out for Q1 of 2023. And what I like about it is, yes, I have it all in my phone, the digital calendar on my iPhone. But when I actually have to sit and pencil out the important dates and big projects that I have going on an old school calendar, I see more of the conflicts that might be arising. I have an example for you. So the first weekend in March 3rd, 4th, and 5th, my daughter is at a dance competition. This particular one we don't have to travel for, but I also have my Unbusy community. I have my monthly meeting with them on that Friday. So I'm crossing my fingers that she's not going to have some sort of dance competition at the same time. If so, I kind of at least have a heads up. I can make sure now that my husband or my dad or another dance mom is available to fill in for me on that particular day. So this calendar really lets me focus in on the potential conflicts and how I'm going to make space for what's important throughout the next 3 months. Okay, after the monthly preview, they have something called rolling quarters. And before I show you this, actually, I know that there's been a design change for this. I have the older design. I think they still have a version of rolling quarters, but I think it looks a little bit different than this. But this is the old design. But this is what the rolling quarters look like. And it's basically just, you have spots for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and then numbers 1 through 31. So there isn't a lot of detail that you can put in there. But again, this gives you the visual to see like what's coming up. I can see, oh gosh, summer vacation is only like 2 quarters away. Do we have all of our plans detailed out? If I want to make sure that, we have the summer vacation we want, that sort of thing. Again, I usually am really good about filling this out at the beginning of the year. When we get to Q2, Q3, Q4, I usually only fill out maybe the following quarter. So I kind of go back and forth with using this particular part of the planner. There is a section on daily rituals. As you can see, this one is not filled out. I have still yet to do this, but I think this is really important, especially for the morning ritual and the workday shutdown. I have that as my reset routine. So I've made a little bit of tweaks to it. I have that whole video series on it. And then my evening ritual and the workday startup, I need to develop a little bit more. But this helps you just make sure, especially if you're creating a habit, identifying like those rituals of starting up and shutting down are a good place to put those habits into your day so you can create them on a regular basis. Okay, and then the next page, we have these ribbons or like little place markers. We have your ideal week. I actually have an entire video about how to create a time budget, which is what the ideal week is all about. Actually, I take that back. It's a blog post. I will link that down below, but this is crucial. And if you need, it really took some time for me to figure out how to do all of this. This one's really lightly done because I have a whole pinup of it. I look at it throughout the day, and it helps you identify where you're spending your time and create space for the things that you want to spend time on. So it really makes you get serious about how you're spending your time. Okay, there is a page called Key Projects. I have never used this. I use Trello as my project manager. I like that it's digital and I can move things around, and touching base with my project manager on a weekly basis is part of my weekly review. So I don't use this page. I use my project manager instead. And then it starts to get into the daily pages. So as you can see, there's a daily spread. You fill out your date at the top. It goes Monday through Sunday, week after week. You get a space for your daily big 3. If you listen to my Reset Your Routine, you'll hear me talk about how you should never have more than 3 top priorities on a daily basis. And then there's space for other tasks. There's space to time block throughout your day. Obviously, I didn't do much for this particular Monday. And then there's space for notes. One thing that I do when I'm taking notes over here, I star things that I want to come back to. And when I'm doing my weekly review on Sundays, I make sure that I pay attention to those stars and either take that action that I want to do, or if it's something that actually needs to be a bigger project, I move it into my Trello, my project management system. And then at the end of each day, this is where the reset routine comes in. So at the end of my Monday, I would sit down, I would make sure, so these little circles that are next to my tasks, they're either checked off, there's an arrow that will move them to another day, or there's like a dash, that means it's been delegated to someone else or waiting on somebody else. Circles all the way through means that you've delegated it, and X means that it's something that you've deleted. I make sure that everything on this task list has one of those symbols, so I know that it's been processed. And I go back when I do my weekly review and check all of these as well to make sure that nothing falls through the cracks. So there's no tasks falling through the cracks. Okay, so that is how I do it at the very end. So you go through Monday through Sunday. After Sunday is the place where you do your weekly preview. So this will have your biggest wins. It has your after action review. So you go back and you identify what were your big three projects for the week. How far did you get? It makes you identify and even measure your percentage of completion. I love that. Look at what worked well, what didn't, what things you're going to change. And then I process through, again, the tasks that I may have missed. And then you identify on the second page your big three for the following week. There is a self-care planner, talks about sleep, eat, move, connect, relax. That's not something that I fill out here. I create more habits around self-care, so I don't use this particular section of the planner. And then you go into the following week. So that is the whole process. Oh, one last thing. So here's the new one. I'll show you. The new one, it comes with the sleeve. When you take it off, there's a rubber band that helps you keep it closed. And then the ribbons are kind of tucked here inside, but there's nowhere to keep a pencil. I like to always have mine with a pencil. So I've attached these little stick-ons that I can slide my pencil into. So my planner always has a pencil with it. I like to do it in pencil because I do make changes to, life happens, things get canceled, things get rescheduled. So it's good to do it in pencil. I will put a link to these I just buy on Amazon. I can't remember how much they are. They're not that expensive. But if you guys want to go back and check into that yearly review I talked about, my roadmap for life, I will see you over in the how to design your life video. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys next week.